It's time now for a look at the latest in local news. In the news, the Wayne County Commissioners set to meet tonight at their monthly meeting. It's set for Courtroom C in Wayne County. Again, the meeting was pushed back as Monday was Labor Day holiday. On their agenda tonight, under new business, consider and approve social media policy, consider and approve elections board, consider and approve staggered terms. Also, items with the administrator, items with the commissioners, executive session, discuss personnel, all that tonight at 7 p.m. Have a full report for tomorrow here on the local news. We've got more from the county call meeting this past Friday, where the commissioners lowered their millage rate about a half a mil, but board member Kevin McCreary was asking for a full mill decrease, but twice failed to get a second to his motion. Here's more of what Kevin McCreary had to say this past Friday.
Looking at the paperwork that we got from Ed and them last night, the revenue and expenditure report that we got, the revenue came in at $26 million. The expenditures were $21.4 million. So that leaves an excess of tax money that was collected of $4.6 million. Keep in mind, $990,000 of that was in the CARES Act to help cover for COVID. Looking at these numbers, we'll say, to be fair, we'll say $3.6 million in excess. Just a few years ago, if you remember, we were not collecting enough taxes revenue to meet the budget, so we were going in the hole. That's where we got the $8 million in the hole. Now we're in excess of it, and we are catching up. The tan is virtually gone. We're going to have an excess of money, and we need to have that because we want to be able to provide the services. We're having to increase several things that that have been needed to be increased for years. The salaries of the sheriff's department, EMS, road department. If we're going to maintain those services, we have to get up to date on those amounts. I assume Ms. Denise gave us this letter saying that she looks at the digest to be flat next year.
No, that's me.
Okay. All right, so we're looking at the digest to be virtually flat next year. And to me, if we roll back a mill, we're still $3 million in excess of tax money for next year. And that, we do have to take out of that. I'm not right, Ed.
And County Minister Ed Jeffers tried to explain his position here was at Exchange this past Friday.
The pressure that you just mentioned, that from the sheriff, and y'all have asked for it, from the EMS, and from all this thing over there, are well in excess of $1 million year over year. So, you know.
But those pressures don't equal $3 million. And that's what we're in excess of. And I'm being conservative with that number. We also get over $2.5 million this year for the American Rescue Act. And we will also get that amount next year, provided we handle the first $2.5 million, correct?
And you cannot use that to roll back the bill.
That's exactly right.
It's restricted over there, and I don't have a full endorsement of how to go allocate those funds up there, and I need to get with y'all in a retreat, I hope in 1st of October, to explain most of that. And, go there. I don't see an excess year over year in the budget of $3 million. And a lot of that, again, is in-kind money and cash on hand. And because of items that come up there, but it doesn't take away, but those pressures are still coming, and those budgets amounts over there as we've allocated are real. It may be a timing issue about how that money has been spent year over year. It's just cash flow management. And from that standpoint, I don't agree with the $3.5 million in surplus that we have, that we've done over 3 or 4 years, a surplus and is that you get every month? Yes, we have, but we borrowed from our hands to get that cash reserve in our bank. That doesn't mean that we're flush and we're fund balance of there per se, but that means that we're getting better. And we
have not borrowed from the tan.
Yes, we have.
The $50,000.
Yes, we have. I just told you we borrowed $1 million. We took $1 million out of it 2 weeks ago.
And once again, that part of the meeting this past Friday, a special call meeting to lower the millage. Again, Kevin McCray motioned not once but twice to lower it a full mill, but again, did not get a second to either motion. Again, they lowered it about a half mill. Bottom line is that a Wayne County taxpayer with a $100,000 home will see a savings of about $40.85 on their tax bill with the county's rollback and the school board's rollback of half a mill. We'll be back with more news after this word from our sponsor of the commercial messages, so please stay tuned. In other news, the Georgia Department of Public Health Commissioner Kathleen Toomey reports that the state of Georgia has surpassed 20,000 lives lost to COVID-19. Again, she says it's tragic but not surprising that we've surpassed this grim milestone of 20,000 COVID deaths in our state. She says 97% of COVID deaths since we've had vaccine are in unvaccinated individuals. These deaths, she says, are preventable. COVID vaccines are safe and effective at protecting against COVID-19 infections. COVID vaccines are also prevent severe illness and death if an individual just gets sick. The vaccine also reduces the risk of people spreading the virus that causes COVID-19. COVID cases are surging in Georgia, driven by the Delta variant. Delta variant is more transmissible than the original SARS, and research shows that it results in a higher rate of severe illness and hospitalizations than other variants. COVID-19 is spreading fastest in areas with low vaccination rates. Currently, only 44% of Georgians are fully vaccinated. All Georgians age 12 and older are urged to get vaccinated, wear a mask in public settings, and wash their hands frequently. Reminder that all school children in Wayne County, once again, doing virtual learning today from home. The hybrid schedule picks back up tomorrow and Friday. Those decisions made at the last Thursday's called Board of Education meeting. Speaking of the Board of Education, they have a retreat this Thursday. It gets underway at 7:30 a.m. tomorrow morning at the Tech Center. Again, on the agenda is a COVID-19 update from Dr. Kelly. Also, the board has their retreat, and also on the agenda is executive session. All that taking place tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. In other news, the following young ladies have been selected to homecoming court, with homecoming set for October 8th when we play Veterans at Home. Homecoming court is made up of Caroline Armstrong, Bailey Banks, Tamisha Chadwick Turner, Leanna Cooper, Emily Copeland, Jules Craven, Alana Faley, Michaela Gaines, Ellie Green, C.J. Lamb, Elijah Rawls, Justice Robinson, Maggie Sluter, Graham Staley, Maya Thomas, and Janzi Williams. We have a few guests lined up for the Butch and Bob show this week. Tomorrow we have another city commissioner candidate. On Thursday's show, Stephanie Williams, who's running in District 3 against Tim Cockfield, will join us. And on Friday, another candidate in that U.S. Senate race on the Republican ballot, Latham Sadler, a Navy veteran and former White House official during the Trump administration, will join us this Friday to talk about his campaign for U.S. Senate. Also talk about the anniversary of 9/11. Again, he served in the military, and again, he'll join us on Friday's Butch and Bob show. We'll be back with some final news notes after this word from our sponsor of the commercial messages, so please stay tuned. Final notes and news. City Commissioners met Tuesday evening for their regular meeting. It marked the first meeting without Mayor David Earl Keith, as he resigned as of September 1. Both Ralph Hickox and Tyrone Johnson are campaigning for the mayor's office. That election set for this November. City also seeking their next full-time city manager. The update from the meeting last night is the city will meet with their firm that they hired to help with the search, and on September 28th they'll meet with them, and they'll get a list of candidates that the firm feels is qualified for the full-time position. City will take the list and begin the interview process at that time. Again, that date, September 28th. We'll have more from the city meeting on Tuesday on tomorrow's newscast. Finally, in the news, former President Donald Trump will return to Georgia to headline a political rally on Saturday, September 25th in Perry, Georgia, at the Georgia National Fairgrounds. He's coming to campaign and endorse statewide candidates, especially Herschel Walker, who's he encouraged to run for that U.S. Senate seat. Trump also backing State Senator Burt Jones for lieutenant governor, and he's previously endorsed U.S. Representative Jody Hice to unseat Republican Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger. $64,000 question that remains is, will he throw his support behind any challenger to Governor Brian Kemp, who Trump has blamed for his narrow defeat in Georgia to President Joe Biden? At his last rally in Dalton, Georgia, on the eve of the U.S. Senate runoffs, he promised to seek revenge on Governor Kemp. Trump said at the time, quote, "I'll be here in about a year and a half campaigning against your governor, I guarantee it," end quote. Back then, he was pleading with U.S. Representative Doug Collins to run for governor, but Collins has ruled out a run for office in 2022, and no other well-known conservative has stepped forward to run for governor. Trump has steered clear of Vernon Jones, a former Democrat who has a long record of opposing GOP policies and, from many reports, has a history of misconduct towards women. Trump is trying to persuade former U.S. Senator David Perdue into running for governor. So far, Perdue has declined. Once again, the big event, which will draw thousands to the event, the date once again, September 25th, Saturday, in Perry, Georgia, at the National Fairgrounds. Donald Trump holding a political rally. That's going to do it for latest in local news. Sports comes your way in a few minutes. Bob Morgan, have a great day.